He now said, but then you have to abort it. I said, I will not.
He said that to you, that you should abort it.
Yes, he said I should abort it. I told him I will not abort it. I made it clear to you, use protection, but you refuse. So this is the consequences of it, and I will not abort the pregnancy. Okay, come to even think of it. Day before yesterday was my wedding, and you're asking me to go for an abortion 2 days later. What if I don't get pregnant again? He said, don't worry. After the abortion, I'll pray for you. I said, I don't want.
He said that to you?
Yes. I said, I don't want. And that was it. I left him because he wanted to make an issue out of it. You have to abort it. What if you now have the baby and people get to know? I said, are you even thinking about my own life at all? What if something happens to me? He said, after all, you're not the first. So many people must still die. Is it you that will not come and die? I didn't answer him. I just walked out and I left him.
He's called Gift Chinyere. It's Chibuzor Chinyere. I told you that these people, everything that they do, 99.5, okay, 0.9, let's be accurate, 99.9% of the charity that they do, it's for clout. It benefits people to some extent in the short term. But the main agenda, the main motive behind all these gestures of charity and philanthropy, it's aimed at getting their name in a good standing. And the reason why they do all these publications, why they make noise whenever they help someone, why they carry the camera whenever they're going to do charity, is because they know they have so much to hide. They have a lot that is behind the scenes. There are skeletons, plenty of skeletons in their closets. These people are the same. Charity is a cover-up. And the reason why they do charity, just like the Jeremiah Omotos, they want to buy your affection. By buying your affection, they know that when the time for their shenanigans come to the limelight, you will stand with them, you will fight for them, you will defend them. You will say, there's no way Chibuzor can do that. There's no way Jeremiah Omoto can do that. Chibuzor loves children. Chibuzor is always taking care of the poor. Chibuzor is a darling of the community. Chibuzor is a humanitarian. But who is Chibuzor behind that mask that he wears in the public? Who really is Chibuzor? To those who know him, I told you what I have on Chibuzor already. We're going to do an entire marathon on him, an entire crusade on him alone.
That wasn't it. He kept asking for the sex. So after that day in church, I kept saying it, I don't want to marry this guy. His sisters, his workers, everyone in the compound that time, even in church, knew that Lover said she did not want to marry, but Daddy was asking her to marry. Now, the problem is nobody knew what I was actually going through. Nobody knew what was the problem. And I couldn't have told anybody. Okay, imagine now, this whole story is out. People still don't want to believe. So imagine if I had said it then, who would have believed me?
Right.
Nobody would have believed me. So, and at each single time, he refuses to use the protection.
Are you serious?
And I made sure I always reminded him. I said, I asked you to use protection and you're always refusing. He said, I am in his house and I cannot call the shots. I can't tell him what to do in his house. So he called the shots and he decides what happened. And I kept telling him, don't get me pregnant and expect me to go for abortion, because I will not. Yeah. I told him this. He said I should stop preaching. I said, no problem. He kept having his way. Now, this whole thing started in March.
When you say he kept having his way, what do you mean by that?
When I mean that, he kept demanding for sex.
Was he? Yes. Did it happen? Did he sleep with you? Did he have sex with you?
And it happened. Yes, he kept sleeping with me without protection.
Okay.
So, meanwhile, the guy I was supposed to marry was still planning for the marriage. So, I approached Apostle and I told him, I said, please, you are the general overseer of OPM and I'm having an affair with you. And the person who wants to marry me is an usher in the church. I don't think I can do this
anymore.
I don't want to put myself in the middle. I don't want to go ahead with this marriage whatsoever. At least let me know I'm dealing with one thing.
Yes.
I don't want to go ahead with the marriage. He said, no, if you go ahead with the marriage, what if the guy did not agree? What if people start suspecting? I said, suspect what? I don't want to go ahead with the marriage. This guy is an usher in your church. What do you think? So after the whole end of the day, after this whole affair and everything, I get married to this guy, and then I'll go to church and I'll be looking at the both of you. I don't want to put myself in this. He refused. So I couldn't keep quiet about it. I went to church that week. I met this guy. I told him, please, I don't want to go ahead with this marriage. I'm calling it off.
Yes.
The guy fled up and said one man was deceiving me. Somebody wants to take me away from him. He's not going to let me go. He has prayed. God told him and his wife, this and that. He was saying stuff. I left him because he started ranting and was shouting and was talking. I left him. This was in church. So before I knew it, the guy has gone to marriage committee, our assistant pastor, reported to so many people that he doesn't know who is trying to take me away from him because people knew us in the church. So they called me that day in Apostle's office. And Apostle started asking me why I wanted to call off the marriage in front of people. He was not the one asking me why I wanted to call off the marriage. So I just told him, I don't want to marry the guy again. I don't want to go ahead with it because I knew at that time I couldn't say anything. So he was now that I have told you, you have already told me this thing in the house. And I told you, don't worry, go ahead with the marriage. I'll set you up. I'll set the guy up. I'll do this. You will be okay. This one, that. I said that it's not about setting us up.
Okay,
so
beautiful.
I told him, I don't want to go ahead with this marriage. He now said, in front of people were there in his office. He now said, I shouldn't worry about it. I'm just a child. That love grows. So when we get married after a while, that love will grow. I said, it's not about love. I personally do not want this marriage again. He refused and I was objecting to it. So people started saying that why am I being disobedient? Why am I disobeying Apostle? That I'm ungrateful. Apostle picked me up, brought me up, and now Apostle is talking and I cannot obey him. The whole people in the church started saying I was ungrateful, I was a riffraff, I was a rat to even stand in front of Apostle and disobey him and stuff like that. And I left the office. That meeting was closed. We came back to the house, he would like, that he's sorry, that he saw the way people were talking to me, that he's sorry. I didn't answer him. That wasn't it. He kept asking for the sex. So after that day in church, I kept saying it, I don't want to marry this guy. His sisters, his workers, everyone in the compound that time, even in church, knew that Lover said she did not want to marry, but Daddy was asking her to marry. Now, the problem is nobody knew what I was actually going through. Nobody knew what was the problem. And I couldn't have told anybody. Okay, imagine now, this whole story is out. People still don't want to believe. So imagine if I had said it then, who would have believed me?
Right.
Nobody would have believed me. So I just kept quiet.
Hold on. You went to a lab to do the blood test.
Yes. I went to a lab.
What's the name of the lab?
I actually can't remember, but I have that test result with me.
Okay.
That particular test result, I have it with me, and I still remember the hospital address.
Okay, good.
Yes. So I gave it to him. He saw it and was like, okay, you know what? Hold on, we will talk. Let me attend to my visitors. When he was done, he now called me. It was in his golden parlor. We went to his parlor. And then he started asking me that, what are we going to do? I said, we don't have to do anything. What are we going to do? This was your plan and you've succeeded. So why are you asking me what we are going to do? I told you I won't go for abortion, so you shouldn't even bring that idea. He said, what of your mother-in-law? I said, she's there. She's in the village. And I said, won't she know? I said, I don't know. He now said, but then you have to abort it. I said, I will not.
He said that to you that you should abort it.
Yes, he said I should abort it. I told him I will not abort it. I made it clear to you, use protection, but you refuse. So this is the consequences of it, and I will not abort the pregnancy. Okay, come to even think of it. Day before yesterday was my wedding, and you're asking me to go for an abortion 2 days later. What if I don't get pregnant again? He said, don't worry, after the abortion, I'll pray for you. I said, I don't want.
He said that to you?
Yes. I said, I don't want. And that was it. I left him because he wanted to make an issue out of it. You have to abort it. What if you now have the baby and people get to know? I said, are you even thinking about my own life at all? What if something happens to me? He said, after all, you're not the first. So many people must still die. Is it you that will not come and die? I didn't answer him. I just walked out and I left him. Came back to my house.
You're not
I
the
was
first
exhausted.
time allegedly he has been doing that.
Probably as of then, I left his house. That was on a Monday night. I left his house, go back to my house. The day was over. I went to sleep. The next day was 23rd, which was Tuesday. When I woke up in the morning, as usual, picked up my phone, I saw an alert, 100,000 naira.
From
So
who?
if I am to trace my bank statement, there will be an alert from him, 100,000 naira to my account. And he also sent me a WhatsApp message. I have sent you money for the abortion, so you can go and do it. I said, okay, I don't hear. I didn't say any other thing to him. Later that day, he was calling me to ask me if I did it. I said, yes. I didn't want to talk to him. I just left. So, and that was it. A week passed, 2 weeks passed. So sometimes I was just thinking, I was like, what's the point of keeping the pregnancy away from him? He has to know. He has to be there. He has to get involved.
Right.
So I reached out to him and I told him I wanted to tell you something. He said, let him guess. I said, okay. He said, you did not have the abortion. I said, fine, you know, I did not do it. And I said, okay, thank God. Since I sent you that money, I've not been at peace. I've not done this. I've not done that. What if it's a baby boy? I was just thinking, have you gone for antenatal? I said, no. He said, okay, I'll send you money. You have to do it. And I started antenatal. He was supportive and all. After the marriage, I left his house. And he continued the sex with someone else.
How do you know about that?
Fine. We were all in the house, and he had already started having sex with other girls before I left the house. So we all know about this.
How did you know? Can you prove to me how you got to know?
We talk to ourselves. We all know ourselves, and we talk to ourselves.
What's the name of the person?
There was Joy Joshua. There was Favor.
And they live there.
There was other people. Yes, it wasn't one. Yes. So I started attending antenatal and everything. He was supportive. Everything was going on well, and I was with my husband. So there was a day I was having problem. I think I was having abdominal pain, and I actually passed out in the house. My husband took me to the hospital. So it was the doctor in the hospital that confirmed to my husband that I was 7 weeks pregnant. Before now, he wasn't aware I was pregnant. The doctor confirmed in the hospital to my husband I was 7 weeks pregnant. My husband was like, doctor, we just married 2-3 weeks ago. Which one are you saying 7 weeks? And I've not touched her except for the... Before, the next day, I was back to the house. When I got to the house, Apostle called me. Now, where is my husband? I said, he's in the house. Say, give him phone. He started shouting for him. Why will you go and call Mrs. Ezendibo that your wife is pregnant? Must you tell everybody your problem? Must you tell everybody this? Can't you keep your problem to yourself? And the guy was like, that he just find out, and the thing was a shock to him. So he needed to tell somebody about to say, okay, if your wife does anything, you want to report it to anybody, report it to me. Don't go and start reporting it to someone else. This guy respects him so much and would never, ever think that he was actually behind it. So he told him, okay, daddy. And that was it. The guy never talks. If any issue arises, he will call him. That this is what my wife is doing. My wife is this. My wife will not allow me to touch her. My wife will not do this. You say, don't worry, I will talk to her. She's pregnant. Take it easy with it. Stuff like that. And the guy was buying it. So 3 months into the pregnancy, someone else got pregnant for him.
Someone else?
Yes, someone else.
By who? What's the name of
Joy Joshua.
Joy Joshua. Where is she now?
She's currently in Lagos.
Does she have the baby?
Yeah, she has the baby.
She's in Lagos with the baby?
Yes.
Do you have her contact?
I don't have a contact, but currently she has been on my DM these few days.
Okay. No, I'm asking you.
No, sir.
All you're telling me now, I'm going to investigate this matter before I move on.
No problem, sir. No problem.
You understand? Because if this is the outside of the story, you're telling me, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because that's what we call character defamation.
Yes.
Character defamation is when you say something that is not true.
Yes.
So if the person now go to court to sue you, you just have to prove beyond reasonable fact that this is not true.
Okay.
Or not evidence, the person will lose the case. So I think I know he might have intelligent people around him, but they should tell him the truth. So we're not doing chess play here. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Go on. Don't be scared. Go on.
So that was it. And then